Yes, hello folks. My name is Menzel Kibalan. I am the tech lead at Universal Equations. I just wanted to give you all just discuss a few minutes the concept of, well, I guess say the discipline of facilities management. And, I just have to say it is a statement in and of itself for a tech person to feel the need to discuss facilities management at any capacity, but it just kind of shows how things have changed. But before I get too far into the conversation, let's just go over, just get a basic sense of what facilities management is. You can probably judge by the terms. You probably got some ideas. When I say facilities management, I'm talking about the upkeep of the buildings as well as the actual grounds, right? So the best way that I imagine it is a college campus, right? Because college campuses, they have, depending on the college that you go to or is located, they have buildings obviously where classes are held. They have, some are more sophisticated than others. You got football fields. You got, just think of all the buildings. You got places where students, just social areas where students can gather. You got cafeterias. You just got so many different types of facilities at a campus, and you also have the actual grounds. Maybe you have things like water fountains, and you have, some kind of gardens or something, whatever, making the campus attractive to students. And these are people who are engaging in an academic journey, so to speak, as well as a lot of students, freshmen, sophomores, et cetera, a lot of them actually live there. You know what I mean? So that to me gives you the scope of what facilities management can entail, right? So some facilities management obviously is more on the building side. You just got a big building in a large city like New York City, et cetera, Newark, New Jersey, et cetera. A city like that, and you got a building, you got to make sure it's up to standard. Now, as a tech guy, why am I talking about it? I guess that's the question we need to address. And we know, we came out of COVID. COVID accelerated a lot of things. Facilities management is one of them. Like we said, facilities management has to do with making sure buildings and the grounds are up to standard. Now, we know that with COVID, when we're talking about health and safety, those standards have changed. Those standards have gotten a little more strict, period. There's no reason why to discuss that further. So the management of buildings has become even that more sophisticated, because just, making sure your whole workforce doesn't get sick in a day, just at the extreme case, So maybe we should talk about some of the facilities management companies. Actually two come to mind. One is ABM, which is actually an interesting company to study. It started in the 1900s. They were like a Windows. This is a good example as well, because there was like a Windows cleaning company. Look it up. The way I remember it, there was a Windows cleaning company that expanded into this, humongous facilities management company. Now, you also have one, Cushman and Wakefield, which is also a good example. CBRE, that's one people know. But, one thing you'll notice is that, companies that do facilities management may also do real estate, or maybe I'm getting that backwards. Companies that do real estate may also do facilities management. And, you can probably think about the reason is because if you have properties, it makes sense, to have a line of business actually maintaining those properties, being able to maintain those properties. Now, folks in the mid to enterprise market, a lot of them are seeing value in turning over the upkeep of their offices to a facilities management company, because it's really sophisticated. It's really sophisticated, like we said, where we're asking folks who are working from home to come back into the office and to feel comfortable and to be productive, right? So, these folks were used to being at home, which is a very controlled, space. They had their kitchen, they had different, different things that they had access to in their home, and you want them to feel at home while they're at work. I mean, that's not easy. It's not easy. Just think about everything that goes on in that, because everyone's needs are different, right? I mean, you got two people in a room. What temperature should the room be? Everyone's idea of what the temperature of the room be may be different. The humidity, everything about, everyone's, you go into each person's home, everyone has their home laid out in a different way. So how do you make a building that feels at home? A realistic expectation of being at home for these workers. If they're going to be in there 2 or 3 days a week, that's companies are investing into making their facilities more comfortable, and then we get into the health and safety piece. I mean, is it safe for me to go into these spaces? Given everything that's happened within the last couple of years. I mean, a lot's happened, and we don't have to go into all that. I mean, if you were alive, here on Earth, what's in terms of health and safety, we got an idea of the things that have happened. So we've talked about some of the facilities management companies. We said ABM, Cushman and Wakefield, and CBRE, right? And we said that some of them, a lot of companies that do the real estate, they say, hey, why don't we do the facilities management as well? We can do the windows, we can do the security, we can do the garbage disposal, we can do the janitorial stuff, we can do the HVAC, the landscaping, and we can do it all. We can even get into budgeting, because see, what happens is with the right facilities management practices in place, it can the facilities management can affect in a positive way the value of the property. So it makes sense that a real estate company would look into that type of line of business, because if you're trying to value a property, obviously if it's been maintained well, then that will, you can get a better price for that. You can get a better valuation for that property, as opposed to properties that have been let go, that haven't been maintained. And I can get into things like mold, mildew, and rodent infestations. I mean, et cetera. I mean, we can get into all that. We know what types of things bring down the value of a property. A facilities management company will maintain in a realistic fashion. I mean, it may not be brand new, but it'll maintain. It can maintain the value of the property, of a property, as well as make it, as far as health and safety, make it and just comfortability, quality of life, which is probably the best term, just the quality of life of the people who are inhabitants or use or frequent that particular property, right? So let's get into some of the software. I'm an IT guy, so we got to get here at some point. Now, I'll only mention one. I'll only mention one, because I think a lot of these facilities management offerings, software offerings, they, on some level, they'll probably all be compared to what IBM has done with IBM Tririga. We can argue about how usable the software is, or the different features, or et cetera. But what we cannot argue is the market presence of IBM Tririga, and it's been around a very long time. So any solution, and some of these companies that offer facilities management, they may have their own solution, or they may have an integrated solution, a suite of tools that they use, et cetera. But when you're talking about facilities management software, you have to, at some point, you have to compare it to IBM Tririga, right? So that's one that I would definitely that I would definitely look at as kind of a standard. And IBM has a very nice product page you can go to look at it. IBM doesn't pay me to talk about Tririga, but that's definitely I think a standard. And like I said, we can, we folks can argue all day about what features it have, what features it should have, and et cetera. But as far as the overall market presence, that's something that, you really can't argue in terms of facilities management software. So I think you get an idea of what facilities management is. There's also the IFMA. You can go to ifma.org. That's a facilities management association that you can go to and get a lot more information about facilities management certifications and just the facilities management profession in general. That's a very good source of information for that. So ifma.org, ifma.org. We've talked about the companies. We've talked about the Tririga software. So I thought you got a really good sense of what facilities management is. It's a lot of things. Facilities managers wear a lot of hats. You're talking about maintaining a property, and all properties are different, whether it's a college campus or a large office building. The needs are different, but the facilities manager has to oversee all that. They do have an impact on environmental concerns of the facility, recycling, etc. The green efficiency just get into energy efficiency. I guess that's the better word for that. But all that in some way, shape, or form would fall under the umbrella of facilities management. Obviously, a facilities manager doesn't have to do it all by himself, but that he or she can definitely be asked to coordinate a lot of those efforts. So they wear a lot of hats, and in my opinion, it's a solid profession. And again, as an IT guy, I like where a lot of the facilities management software is going. It's definitely going in a good place, and which means if it's going in a good place, that means that the quality of life that facilities can potentially offer an inhabitant or person who frequents that facility will improve. And that's what IT people like to see. They like to see their software improve the quality of life of the people who are affected by it, directly or indirectly. But anyhow, I think I've said enough. As always, click the like button and or subscribe if you haven't already. That definitely helps us to get more content out to you all. And we'll talk next time. Talk to you later. Peace.